Okay, Module 3, can and can't carry locations. I know that in a lot of this class it's who can, who can't, where I can't, where I can, and it seems very restrictive. But it's really not, okay? When you break down all the different locations, there's clusters, right, that make sense. As a long time licensed to carry person, you don't think about it after a while because it's places that make sense. Okay. Now, some of the specific things like signs and whatnot have not come out yet, so it's difficult to spell out where permitless carry exactly will not be allowed. But right now, according to the law that's put out, the guidance that's been, on the website basically says a person carrying under the Firearm Carry Act of 2021 without a license to carry can carry in locations other than, okay, and these are a lot of the same places that a person that has an LTC cannot, right? Federally banned locations, state banned locations, locations posted legally as off limits to all firearms, locations legally posted as off limits to unpermitted carry. So let's talk about the term federally banned, okay? Federal locations like a courthouse, a federal building, federal prisons, Corps of Engineers property, national cemeteries, post offices is a big one, or any building that is owned, leased, or rented by the government, okay? Buildings in the National Forest, buildings in parks and Bureau of Land Management lands. If you're a veteran, you can't carry your firearm on Veterans Administration property, nothing on the VA. Sterile areas of airports, military bases, things like that, okay? But one of the things that they talk about, right, is the word premises and parking lots. So as you see here, it said this includes parking lots adjacent to or part of the facility if the federal entity owns that parking lot, right? For example, me, when I go to the VA, I park my truck across the street in a gas station parking lot, secure my firearm in my lockbox in my truck, and then go to the VA for whatever reason I need to go there. And so the parking lot or land adjacent to the federal property that you're trying to visit has to be posted. Federal property, things like that. In Texas, it'll say that specifically as well. I've seen it in several different locations. Now, state banned. Prohibited locations posted within the Texas Penal Code. We have 30.05 and 46.03, which is new to me, says this. On the physical premises, again, I mentioned that earlier, premises of an elementary or secondary school or educational institution, grounds or building in which a school-sponsored activity is being conducted, or a passenger transportation vehicle or a school or education institution without authorization, permission. In most cases, if they will allow you to do that, you need to have written permission. Within 1,000 feet of a school, on the premises of an institution of higher education or grounds or building in which that activity could be conducted. And again, it's the exact same thing that we mentioned before on the physical premises. Premises where a high school, collegiate, or other interscholastic event is taking place, a sporting event. And in a lot of places, it could also be a professional sporting event. A polling place on election day, or also while early voting is going on. Premises of a courthouse, a government court, or offices associated with that court, unless you are specifically authorized by the court. A racetrack, again, another secured area of an airport. On the premises of a business that derives 51%. Most cases there'll be a sign, right? 51% or more of its income is derived from the sale of alcohol beverages for on-site consumption. In this instance, like I say in here, there'll be a big red sign that says 51%. In large red letters superimposed over a warning that says possession of a concealed weapon on this premises is a felony. Another premises where the possession of any concealed weapon is illegal, or the premises of a correctional facility, jail or penitentiary. Civil commitment facility, and this generally means a mental confinement center, whether it's a civilian or other state or federal location, within 1,000 feet of a place of execution on a day that the sentence of death is set to be imposed by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. On the premises of a hospital, the premises of a mental hospital or nursing home, premises of a permanent amusement park, or the room of an open meeting of a government entity, or any place where carrying of firearms is prohibited by federal law. So if you think about it, kind of what I said is these things often are intertwined. I know it seems like a lot now, but it really will not be when you get into the practice of carrying your firearm. So here's that note I referenced earlier about what is a premises. Premises means a building or a portion of a building. The term does not include public or private driveway, a street, a sidewalk, or a walkway, parking lot, parking garage, or other parking area. It means the building or an outbuilding, attached or unattached to it, right? You have to be very careful about that. If it says, no firearms allowed, you can't just go to the next building. It's generally covered by that same warning, okay? But please always look for the sign. The signs will protect you. And then, as we said before, there still can be places that a licensed to carry holder cannot carry also. So when we talked about signs, we talked about 30.05, there'll be 30.06, 30.07. You'll hear someone who carries a firearm often with a license to carry, call it 30.06, 30.07. But those are the signs that must be by law posted outside of the building or premises that you're about to go into, and it has specific wording and guidance. Has to be a certain size, a certain height, and it's your protection, right? As much as it is the business or facility owner's protection. So here we go. Prohibited locations posted with the sign, Texas Penal Code 30.07 or 46.03. On the physical premises of an elementary or secondary school, okay, we've already talked about this before, on which a school-sponsored activity is being conducted, or a bus or van or things like that, without authorization. Again, on the premises of an institution of higher education, or on the grounds or on that building where a school-sponsored activity, not just sports, is being conducted, or a passenger transportation vehicle owned by them. Premises where a professional sporting event is going to take place, or premises of any government, court, or offices utilized by them, and again, a racetrack. As we mentioned before, just like for someone with utilizing permitless carry, a polling place on election day or early voting day, a correctional facility, a civil commitment facility, a location on an execution where the sentence of death is set to be imposed, 1,000 feet, just like before, okay? Again, on any building that posts 51%, a sign on there, which means that this particular business derives 51% of all its sales through that of alcohol for on-premises consumption. Again, it would be posted with a big red sign with 51% in large red letters, superimposed over a warning that says possession of a concealed weapon on the property is a felony. So remember, just like before when we spoke about 46.02, for a license to carry holder, doesn't matter. A premises means the same thing. A building or a portion of a building. It doesn't include the parking lot, parking garage, sidewalk, walkway, or things like that. So that is the end of Module 3, where you can and where you can't. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll be on Module 4 with more signs and instructions. Stay tuned.